What's up? Good evening. You're listening to another episode of Taking the Over. I'm your host, Billy Gunn, joined as always by my co host, the T Man among boys, the one and only Mr. T himself, on this, the official sports wagering podcast of Boot Crew Media. And T, holy mackerel, what a show we're going to have tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot on the agenda, a lot we have to unpack.
Can I just do a quick rundown before, you know, we tell them the main thesis? Tonight, my vision board, the saga of Ben the Better. Of course, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. Of course, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, we're going to talk about the NFL draft and how to really enhance your experience with that. But we're going to do all that via gambling, because that's what this is all about, is gambling. And if you're going to be gambling, you should probably use DraftKings. And DraftKings, not even probably, you should use DraftKings because it's the best. And T, you and I gamble a lot, and we know the best apps. And I mean, I did a taste test of all of the apps when it went legal in Louisiana, and you did the same when it went legal in Connecticut. And we both landed at the same place, which is our presenting sponsor of Taking the Over, DraftKings. UFC 274 is coming up, man. So you're going to have things like the calf slicer, the Peruvian necktie, the banana split. There are tons of ways to come out on top in the octagon. And for UFC 274, there's one more with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. New customers can bet $5 on any fighter to win and get $150 in free bets. So choose your favorite fighter, then sit back and watch the action unfold. Anything can happen on fight night, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, you got a sure thing for UFC 274. Bet $5 and get 150 in free bets if your fighter wins. If you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use promo code BOOT, that's BOOT. Throw down $5 on any UFC 274 fighter to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code BOOT. This Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official betting partner of UFC. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply, and we'll go into further detail about all that later. But my goodness, man, we had quite a day, and we haven't even gotten started yet.
Today was an emotional roller coaster with a literal. It was a jaw dropping moment where my jaw literally dropped for the first time in my life.
I tell you that, like, I've said this on the show before. I lose my mind this time of year. I go crazy this time of year on command for something like the last 7 or 8 years. And so it's a weird time. And then sometimes it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and sometimes it's something else. But we had some fun today with, either, depending on who you talk to, the worst gambler on sports gambling Twitter or the best gambler on sports gambling Twitter, depending on who you ask. But that's not even what I'm referring to. Are you familiar with something called a vision board, T?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's pretty much a poster board that you would put images of things you want to happen in your future. Is that a correct assumption or a correct description?
It's like an arts and crafts project for grown-ups.
Is it like when you cut the pictures out of the magazine when you're a kid and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You put them on a poster board, and you say, "This is what I want." Did I ever share with you that I made a vision board for myself?
I don't think you've shared it with me, but it's one of the least surprising things I've ever heard.
Right. And I think I've talked about it on this show before, if you go back like 6 months or so. I made a vision board one day. I did a grown-up arts and crafts project. And that vision board bore out the fact that one day I aspired to derive my income from gambling app ad revenue and male enhancement medicines.
Extremely specific vision board, but
It's a pretty specific vision board. It's a very specific vision board. Would you believe that it has happened to me? I mean,
again,
am I lying to you? You know me. We're friends. We talk.
no, you're definitely not lying. And again, least surprising thing I've heard today.
All right. Now today's been a surprising day. I aspire to one day like make the money from gambling, entertainment, and helping out dudes get rock hard.
God bless you. So
It's here. Would you imagine? I mean, like, what are the odds? Do you think the vision board's a worthy exercise?
apparently so. It's pretty accurate to a extremely niche vision piece there.
It's
I will draw
it was a
mine
pretty
up.
specific vision board. Just but here we are, man, and we've got a lot to talk about other than my vision board. You didn't take my bait on the vision board. You're all decked out in Pelicans gear. You got your boot crew shirt on. Look at you, man. Like,
I'm fully invested in the Pelicans playoff run, obviously, but I have almost reached like mental fatigue with it because they've exceeded my expectations. We've already gotten in the playoffs. Not that I don't want them to keep winning, but it's not like Saints here sometimes where they have all this expectation and you're stressed. I'm just kind of like, okay, they've done what they've done. They have made me happy. But these 10 p.m. tip-offs are physically and mentally draining me.
it makes me feel like an old man. And it's not just me, it's everybody that I talk to. I mean, like, you're on the East Coast, so that's got to be tough,
It was
right?
10:15 last night and the game hadn't even started yet.
Yeah. Well, good news. Tomorrow is going to be 7:30 your time, 6:30 ours. They'll probably kick it back to on the quarter hour, but and we've got the NFL draft.
Yeah, the draft may have to be like a not a live watch, but a check Twitter every 5 seconds type event.
Yes, I'm gonna have so many screens going tomorrow.
I
So many screens. You've got
yeah,
to. But and I mean and we're gonna have wagers on both. All right? Am I crazy for
yeah,
thinking that?
yeah. I saw a poll today. It was like, do you bet on Twitter? It was a Twitter poll. Will you bet on the NFL draft? Only 47% of people on that particular poll said they would bet on the NFL draft, which I thought was astronomically low. I would assume more people would be doing it, like that, especially with the rise in gambling and people knowing they can do that now.
I'm gonna do but I mean, let's put a wicked parlay together tonight. Let's parlay some draft and some Pelicans. Let's do that.
Yeah,
Why can't? I mean, we can do whatever we want.
there's no rules. I don't know if DraftKings will allow that actually to parlay. Probably will because DraftKings is the best sports book, of course.
All right. Well, let's just bet on both, no matter what.
You
Right.
don't, you don't want to cook up another crazy parlay and throw a NASCAR race in there too, just for.
I like or take 2 weeks to develop.
Yep.
Mm.
Pick the winner of every NASCAR race from here for the next month in a row. Parlay 4 races.
Did I tell you that I went to the Zurich on Sunday?
You did.
All right. So we went to the Zurich and they had a golf course. It's beautiful. I mean, going at PGA golf events are the best events to go to, like, of all time. And they had a tent there with it's like a brand, a personality. that we don't talk about on this show. But I went into their enclosure, and they were like, "Oh, they're like, we know who you are. This is pretty awesome. Why don't you like tweet some shit about us?" And I was like, "Can't do that, man. You know, promo code
guerrilla,
boot.
guerrilla warfare.
Right, right, right." And then they gave me $100.
Oh, so they're bribing you too.
Right, but I didn't have to do anything. They just gave me $100. The situation was
Okay,
resolved. They just went, "Well, here's $100 for being you."
playing the long game.
It was a great afternoon. It was a fun tournament. Like that made, I mean, like that almost, like that really put the cherry on top of a beautiful fucking afternoon. That's Zurich. It's hard. I followed you. You did an in play bet on the second place team. Was that
I
Sam
took them before
Burns?
the event actually.
Oh shit! No,
Took
no.
them on Thursday plus 1,200. Sam Burns
Okay.
and Billy Horschel to win outright.
Well, I took in play while I was sitting on the 18th fairway. Maybe a bad move.
Just as good.
80 milligrams deep, man.
It's when you reach your ultimate clarity. It's like
I
Nirvana.
was having a great time. Yeah, and I was like, well, if T's betting on them, and you know how disconnected you get from what's going on when you're at a fucking golf event. Like you have no idea what's going on the scoreboard, and there's
Yeah, there's what,
if you
one leaderboard or
turn your
two
neck a
leaderboards.
certain way, yeah, you'll
I've never been
find
to a golf event actually.
you should, dude. I don't care if you go on like the Wednesday, like the practice day. Find one near you and go.
We have
Because I'd been to.
Cromwell
I
in
remember.
Connecticut.
Are there like things from your youth that you remember? Like I remember going to see the predecessor to the Zurich with a buddy of mine from high school, our senior year, like the summer after our senior year of high school. We were listening to Spice Girls in his mom's van, to give you a reference. And that was my first golf tournament. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. We had like beer tent wristbands and fake IDs and fucking Spice Girl CDs. And dude, it was pretty wild, you know. And every golf tournament that I've ever been to since then, while not, similar circumstances, it's been pretty fucking fun. It's been a lot. It's been just a joyous event. And it's hard to compare to anything else. It's like you can't compare a golf tournament to a Saints game. You can't compare, just like you can't compare a Saints game to a Pelicans game. You can't compare NASCAR to anything.
They're unique. Yeah. I mean, you can't see every hole though. So you have to either walk around or you have to get a seat on a specific hole.
What you do is you get geared up and you eat and drink and do some deals, and then you start setting out. So like you'll set out on the front nine or down the back nine or whatever, right? And so we followed the leaders for a couple holes, but it's a golf course, and so on golf courses, like we went, oh, let's jump from 3 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then you jump over to 7, and you sit on a specific place on 7, and you wait, da 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 da. And you go, oh fuck it, let's go to 12. You go, look, there's a whole podcast on the network dedicated to this. Didn't meet up with those guys, by the way, but
You didn't. But that was a planned
no,
play date.
nah, dude, those guys are so fucking serious about golf. It was just me. It was like me and like the reigning queen of Cleopatra at the deal. And I was like, fuck it. But many thanks for that. I appreciate the free 100 from that tent. That was pretty sweet. And I've been profitable on that, and that's your NASCAR brought me to that. But let's talk about the NBA and the Pelicans bets, man. Have you looked at like some of these series odds? I'm seeing where I don't know. I feel like the Pelicans and the Suns are going 7 games, right? Pels are going to win at home. It is kind of the rhythm of the series so far. Performance of players on both sides. I don't know how much hype is given to like Chris Paul being worn out and fucking tired, but this game is going to be a little bit unique in that there is travel and a lesser break and an earlier tip-off time significantly than what we've seen before. And our friends at DraftKings are not hedging their bets. I saw the money line on Game 6 with the Pelicans at home at plus 105.
Yeah, I think it's down to 1.5 the spread. So it's
Right. Just take the fucking money line at that point.
yeah, I would agree. You might as well go all in. The thing that worries me a lot too is Devin Booker could come back.
That's bullshit. Devin
Wo-
Booker's not coming back.
Woj tweeted that he could potentially be available for
Then
Game 6 or Game 7.
Woj tweeted sooner than that he wasn't coming back to the conference semifinals. I mean, that's some psychological warfare utilizing like the highest levels of sports media. We could do the same shit with dude. Why don't the Pelicans just make Zion doubtful?
Yeah,
Put a
I
designation on him
agree.
just to fuck with their heads.
Well, he should be he should be probable. He should be playing at this point, but that's a whole different conversation. But
Oh yeah, that is a
uh,
conversation.
so you think this is a planted story by the Devin Booker Suns camp to cause fear in
Yes,
the heart of Pelicans fans and the Pelicans?
yes. I don't think there's zero chance. I love how most people won't even listen to this till it's already happened. Devin Booker ain't fucking playing, dude. That's
He
fake
seems like a
news.
punk ass bitch to be supported by
No,
fans.
actually, dude, I like Devin Booker coming into this. He's from like Gulf Coast, Mississippi.
I just don't like him. Like he's on the court when he's in street clothes, like pointing at refs, yelling at refs. He did the thing
He's
where
a
he stripped.
passionate dude. Dude, he's the kind of guy. Like I said, he's from like New Orleans is his home market. To be honest with you, he's from like a Gulf Coast area of Mississippi. I feel like he moved down here to be with his dad, and his dad was a famous basketball player, and like AAU'd him up and everything. Like the Devin Booker story, I love. It is. I mean, it is weird because he's doing like you don't see Ben Simmons running out the fucking half court to argue foul calls in street clothes.
You don't see Ben Simmons at all at this point, other than when he's wearing his pink sunglasses.
You know what
He,
my favorite, my new favorite thing to do is to watch Ben Simmons or listen to people trash Ben Simmons on podcasts.
I mean, everywhere you look, you're probably going to get it at this
Just,
point.
just inject that into my veins.
I I
But
didn't want to
I
like
mean,
pile on the guy with mental health issues. I
it's
respect
not
mental
mental
health
health
issues.
issues, bro. It's not. You can say mental health to a certain fucking extent.
Right, that's the thing. It's now he said it's triggering back pain in him.
Does Ben Simmons have kids?
I don't think so. I think he's
He
single because he
doesn't.
was
I can
dating
answer
Kylie
this for you.
Jenner
He
or Kendall
doesn't.
Jenner.
He does not. Let's play a game here called Pretend Ben Simmons has kids. All right. One or more. Does that change the Ben Simmons narrative at all? His mental health? Because I could say, dude, I got mental health.
You're getting in a
I
slippery rabbit hole of
yeah, no, Ben Simmons and like everyone's confounded with Ben Simmons. And
it,
that's and like I don't say this to draw a correlation to Zion, but we don't
I'd
know
much rather have
what
our situation with Zion than have Ben Simmons.
I listened to some shit the other day. It talked about like, and I did also listen to, you know, home team announcers talking about how awesome and Zion's definitely gonna be here next year. Dude, what if we traded Zion?
I mean, it's possible. I don't hate if it's the right return. I don't hate it, but I don't want to keep doing the thing where we're trading away top talent for draft picks.
Is it possible to like love and respect Zion and also say we should trade Zion?
I would want one like all-star level above player currently. Now, I don't want draft picks. I don't want, you know what I mean? I,
Yeah.
they just get in that dangerous situation where they're always building for the future. But right now, as we've seen this year, they're right there.
Well, the consensus is with Zion, there's a top 3 team in the West.
See,
But
that's a stretch for me, but I think they're
I
definitely a
don't I
top
don't think that's the
six.
well, I mean it does, but the reason why you're not seeing him is what would it do to the dynamic? How
That's
could
my
it upset the dynamic of now?
right. That's what I think is potentially part of the reason they're not playing him. One for the obvious, they're afraid of getting him hurt again. Whatever, that's a whole thing I can't stand. But because to me, you're going game 6 against the number 1 seed with a chance to win. I said it before too. It's why would you not play him? You could take them over the edge and make a serious run this year. Why do you? There's always that idea of like next year's the year, next year's the year. I hate that mentality because the opportunities in professional leagues come and go so quick. When you have this opportunity here, and a guy who's doing 360 windmill dunks 10 minutes before tip off,
Right. And there's a reason for that. Like that, he's clearly sending a fucking sign.
right? So why would you not take the opportunity that's right here in front of you? I wish it was game 3 when they had their first home game. That would have been the ideal time to send Zion out there. But
Like I've told you before, I think we make it out of the series. You do see him,
I
but
don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to
I
think
mean, like,
so.
have you taken a look at the odds on the Pelicans and the Suns? I mean, now Pelicans win the series plus 600, Suns minus 1,000. DraftKings is hedging pretty hard on that, right?
Yeah, I took him at plus 210. I think when we talked last week after game
Yeah,
3, I took him plus 210.
I did the same. I did the same.
But I, I don't even know if they win tomorrow night.
What's funny is you look at like series total games or correct score. It if the Pelicans were to win this series now, it's going to be 4-3 in Game 7,
Right.
right? You look at this series and Suns win 4-2, meaning Suns win tomorrow night, is minus 130 on DraftKings. Suns win 4-3 is plus 180, meaning Suns win in 7, 4-3, plus 180. Pelicans 4-3, plus 550.
Why are they worse odds when it's the only possible outcome?
No,
Right?
there's only
They're,
one outcome for the Pelicans. It's plus 550.
yeah, but to win the series
Suns,
is plus 600, you said. And those are the
right?
exact same outcome.
Yep. Because it must be. We should probably write a
So
email
submit a
to them.
support
Let them
ticket.
know. Let them know. A support ticket. Well, it's important to look around at all of the bets. It really is. A noob would not have caught that. T.
Well, I'm convinced there's some just they have an algorithm running the whole book, and it's just plugs in market what's stuff going on with the money, where the bets are going, and just generates it. So I think that's why it does two different ones. That's what I'm thinking. But unless there is a master odds maker at DraftKings who is manually putting in each and every bet.
I like the money line tomorrow night. I mean, we've won money with the Pels. We've lost money with the Pels. I really like Pels tomorrow night plus 105. It's actually plus 110 now, and the line has moved to 2 as current on DraftKings.
Ugh, I'm not betting that game tomorrow. Giving up on it.
I really don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. There's no
I don't
added
need to.
entertainment.
There's so much going on tomorrow night because we have the Pelicans, and let's transition over to the draft. And we've talked about NFL draft bets on this pod a decent bit. And, like one of the things I was saying to the guys in the tent at the Zurich the other day was fun bets to place for the NFL draft to make sure that you like you're going to have fun watching the draft no matter what. Because again, as always, that's the main thesis of our gambling. This isn't a fucking mutual fund. We're trying to have fun and not lose our ass. Right?
Spot on. That's right.
Dude,
Yeah.
the well publicized, very much spoken about favorite bet that I have open on DraftKings for the NFL draft is total receivers taken in the first round, which I grabbed a week ago. It's at minus 120, a little bit juiced up, but in order for me to lose, 7 wide receivers are going to have to be drafted in the first round. We've
Whatever
discussed that
side
to
is
death.
whatever the underdog is in that bet is what I'm taking.
We've discussed that to death. But then it comes down to like, there's so many possibilities for betting in the draft. You can do position totals. You can do like who's got. I mean, you don't even need. It's so funny. It's like I personally don't really. I'm not a big fan of mock drafts. I kind of detest mock drafts. If you want to see where the popular consensus is, you can literally find almost every pick 1 through 10 and onward if you study the lines, the NFL draft betting lines. And that really should give you a more accurate position than any kind of mock draft out there. That's where actual money, that's where actual skin is in on the game. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, exactly. I look at the draft as one of those like the Super Bowl. Other than the actual game, all the props, I kind of look at it like that, where I don't, I'm not going to put too much intelligence into this, and more just pick the most fun things that'll be fun to root for. Like there's one, it's plus 250 or plus 280. It's the Saints to use their first pick on a wide receiver.
Right. Right.
That to me seems like a lot of value at plus 200, whatever.
Let's do it. That one's in. And of course, that's via DraftKings, right?
Yeah, so they have
Of
I don't know
course.
the exact number, but it was plus 250 or 280.
What's what's weird is like I've been studying these lines for weeks and weeks, right? Leading up. And they're changing, they're flip-flopping all over. Like starting with the first pick in the draft. Aiden Hutchinson was the favorite like 2 weeks ago. And if you go back 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, it was Kayvon Thibodeau. If
Mhm.
you go back a year, it was fucking Sam Howell, who's not even projected to go in the first round now. Right? But like in the last 2 weeks, the first pick overall has gone from like Aiden Hutchinson was the favorite. He's now plus 300. Trayvon Walker's minus 300 to be the first overall. And it's like, I don't even know. I mean, like you would trust Jacksonville to be loose with information, right? Like,
I just look at all the mock drafts that get changed on a daily basis from the same writers from February 10th till now. It's kind of, I would say the market doesn't align directly with that, but it's the same kind of movement. People's number one guy changes all the time. I again, I have done almost zero research on the NFL draft picks. I'm just going to take the fun ones. Malik Willis to the Saints plus 650. How is he going to fall that far?
yeah, well, it's weird. You want to get into quarterback odds? I've got some quarterback odds for you. I really, really there's one. It's like the first quarterback or the quarterback to the Saints, and oh shit,
Quarterbacks taken in the first round over 3 minus 120. Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. Anyone else you think is going to jump off the board in the first round?
I'm on the record. I've got Kenny Pickett at like plus 275 or plus 300 for first quarterback taken because I believe he's going to go at number 8 to Jacksonville. That's clear. Clear
Carolina or
as day.
Jacksonville?
I'm sorry, Carolina. Carolina. Carolina.
I was going to say, did I do some crazy trade? You think him and Matt Rule have a thing from Temple? I think you said, right?
Yeah. Rule recruited him to Temple and then Rule left and of course he never went to Temple. But I mean, I don't know. The quarterback thing's all over the map. Like I don't think there's a good quarterback in this draft.
This is a receiver
Um,
draft through and through.
this is a receiver draft. This is an offensive tackle draft. This is an edge defensive lineman draft.
Oh, Larry Fedora would thrive in this draft.
Oh, Larry Fedora would go to town. But there's no quarterback in this draft. And like the people that are sick for quarterbacks in this draft, they just I don't understand it. Like I mean, like all right, let's approach it from a fan base. We're Saints fans. No, there's nobody in this draft better than that guy that played for the Colts last year named Carson Wentz in the first round.
Yeah, not
You don't
everyone
you don't
could.
have anybody better than a fucking Carson Wentz in this first round.
Yeah, there's no one that jumps off the page, I guess.
Take
And
Jameis out of the equation.
right. Well,
There's
there's
nobody better than Jameis in this draft in the first
look
round.
at the ownership of the teams who want a quarterback. Like Carolina has doesn't really have a great track record, especially with Rule. They're gonna screw up and they're gonna panic and take Kenny Pickett or they're gonna take Malik Willis.
And that's what it comes down to. Like, I mean, and I lean towards Carolina taking Pickett because Rule needs to win now.
Yeah,
Like Pickett is, and all of the draft analysts and everybody's saying this. Malik Willis is like you got to change your offense like a Jalen Hurts offense. And guess what?
that,
I don't think Malik Willis is any kind of Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts literally played for any of the 5-star platinum fucking colleges that he wanted to. And then he got drafted into the NFL as a first round quarterback draft choice. And there were games that I watched as a fan or as an opposing fan on Jalen Hurts, not counting the 2 seasons ago. I watched Jalen Hurts win the fucking national championship with Alabama. Like, he's a class dude. But like, do you think Malik Willis is better than Jalen Hurts? That's the type of player you're getting.
I don't think he's better than Jalen Hurts. At least Jalen Hurts has not proven it, but he's been an NFL quarterback, right? It's further
So
along.
would you
Malik
draft
Willis
a guy? Would you draft a quarterback at number 8 or number 19 or number 20 whose ceiling is no higher than Jalen Hurts?
Matt Rule may.
Matt Rule
But
might. That's what.
so like that's
I think he's going to draft a quarterback that's not even as good as Malik Willis. I think he's going to take Pickett,
Desmond
whose
Ritter or
hands aren't
something
fucking large enough to
crazy.
grip the ball.
All conventional like thinking has to go out the window with that pick. So what's the wildest route we could take to get the highest odds? That's what I'm going to do. Punter.
The over under on quarterbacks is 2.5 in the first round. That's a fun bet too.
It's going to be what Ritter as the third.
Shit.
Is he the next guy, or is there
Are
another
you
one?
sure? So that's where it gets crazy because you
Yeah.
got Corral.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like these scouting reports on Corral, like he's a fucking psychopath or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I want the Saints to take him if they're going to take any quarterback at all. No one
I
else.
think they might be able to get him in the second or third round. It's a bizarre quarterback draft, and the people are like, we want to draft a quarterback. Like, what the fuck is what's gotten into your brain? There's no quarterbacks in this draft, dude.
Well, I guess Todd McShay.
Last year we had 5 taken in the first 15.
Just it's like it's all cyclical. This happens, you know what I mean? You got a quarterback draft. It's never like one. Maybe it is, but I feel like it's always. It's not like one or two really good quarterbacks. It's like a quarterback draft. I don't know if that's just self-labeled for hype, what have you, but Todd McShay thinks the Panthers are sticking with Sam Darnold through the draft. But then Peter Schrager, who's a guy in Good Morning Football, says that he thinks they're taking Pickett. Yeah, I do too.
But he thinks what?
He thinks that they're going to take Kenny Pickett.
Who?
Todd McShay thinks they're Panthers.
Panthers. Yeah, that's what I think too. Schrager and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Or they can't possibly stick with Sam Darnold for another year.
Total first round quarterbacks drafted as of right now on DraftKings, over 2.5 is minus 200. Under 2.5 is plus 150. Holy shit. They're thinking 3.
On those, again, I'm taking the better odds or the underdog, I guess, so to speak. Under 3 is what's the odds on that?
Under 3 is plus 150. I might be forced to take that.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too.
Add that to my board.
Under 2.5 quarterbacks. And we've got a very impressive. Whoop. See, like as we say it, because the word's going out live, odds are changing live, dude. That's it. That's the reach that we
We
have
have a
today.
lot of reach.
It's plus 150.
Boy. Yeah, I'll take the chance on that. Why not?
You've got weird ones. You got like Derek Stingley draft position for the LSU fans under 7.5, meaning 7 or lower, minus 160. Over 7.5. Stingley is now considered to be the top corner over the other guy who's got the funky name. Kenny Pickett draft position under 16.5, minus 160. Over 16.5, plus 120. That would run contrary to my Kenny Pickett. That's the hedge on that. Matt Corral talked about if he gets picked before pick 34, meaning just outside of the first round, he's plus 120. If he gets picked under pick 34, so if he's a first round or under, plus 120. Over 33.5, he's minus 160. I've seen
So,
so much activity on Twitter talking about smart bettors really attacking Kayvon Thibodeau lines. Have you seen this same thing? Have you seen like bets getting refused and people having disagreements with they're trying to really hammer Kayvon Thibodeau going in the first 5 picks?
yeah, well, he was mocked as number one for a bit. It isn't.
Was mocked at number one for a bit.
Yeah, again, it's a total crapshoot to me. This is almost harder than picking an NFL college basketball bracket in terms of trying to forecast this.
You stick with what you know.
I know the Saints. That's about it. But on draft day, I know nothing about the
Did
Saints.
you see
So
those
that's
Saints odds on?
impossible.
Did you see those Saints related picks on DraftKings?
Yeah, I saw the ones with like Malik Willis was plus 650 drafting a receiver I like. Um, I would take maybe action in Matt Corral. If that's a specific one we could do. That's more like a selfish pick, like I want it to happen.
You want them? You want them to take Matt Corral?
If they're going to take a quarterback, I think that's a move. That'd be the one with the highest upside, and because they don't need him this year, we don't need a ready like a pro ready guy right now. Jameis is on a 2-year deal. Jameis, so at least you have him in theory if he doesn't get hurt for 2 years.
I think
So
drafting a quarterback is insanity. Insanity.
what else would you
We
like
just
besides a
drafted a
receiver?
quarterback last year. What, you ready to give up on Ian Book already?
I forgot he was even on the team.
Oh,
Jeez.
come on now. I mean,
Maybe they go back to back receivers. That
that'd
would
be
be
awesome.
fun.
I like those. I like everybody's got their mock drafts. My favorite ones are the guys that go Saints take 2 receivers within 3 picks.
Yeah, that would
I
be
like that
awesome.
a lot.
That would be fun. I don't want
Jameson's
them.
available. Take him and take Burks and I mean whoever. I
They're,
love all of those.
they're going to take back to back tackles or a guard. You know they are. Let's draft the third center for the roster. Why not? Why don't they at this point?
There's really no telling, but it's weird because as a Saints fan, I don't really feel like I'm in a position to question or shit all over their judgment. They've been really effective in the draft. They've had number one the greatest draft of all time. They had, and uh, yeah, everybody's gonna miss. You can't help that. You're gonna hire an asshole from time to time, but like I have a hard time critiquing the Saints drafting like all of it because the record is there.
Yeah, the only like you have the glaring ones like this Stanley Jean Baptiste picks, and then you have the ones that are like, are they a good pick? We don't know yet. Like 2 first, Marcus Davenport. We don't know.
Yeah, but is he? But I mean, like 2 first is crazy, and it was a crazy that everybody loves to point at 2 first, but like he might be rounding into exactly everything they thought he was. And that's the fucked up thing about the Saints.
Yeah,
Saints might go receiver and some fucking pass rusher from like Stephen F. Austin or something.
Yeah, they're
You
gonna
know what I mean? Like
they have like their pipeline is Division Two and Division FC and FCS teams. That's their like secret pipeline that no one knows about. I think that's gonna change with Sean gone.
we'll see. I mean, it's like I said, this is the Dennis Allen brand of the draft, so we'll see.
It's gonna
I
be more
wanted to have I
conservative,
wanted
I
to have
bet.
all the Saints guys on. I wanted to do like a taking the over, where we'd have like Rosviglu, and we'd have Jimi Hendrix. I mean John Hendricks, and that like it was a weird vision I had. That I didn't make a vision board
Oh,
for it
that's
though.
why it didn't happen.
That's why it didn't happen. I should have opened up a magazine and cut out pictures of Rosviglu and Hendricks in the draft and like Mel Kiper and you and me.
Yeah.
Put that on a board, and that would have worked just as effectively as like Rock Hard Dicks in DraftKings.
We'll settle. We'll settle for it. It's all right. God, yeah. I think with Dennis Allen, they're going to be a little bit more traditional in how they do it. I think Sean
You
always
think
has that. Even
you think he's gonna take the fedora approach of going? Let me draft for the other side of the ball.
yeah,
I
he's
got this
secretly
one locked
still
down.
just focused on defense, so he's just going to take all
No, he's gonna
defensive
take all
players.
offense. All offense.
It's
Let's say Fedora said, "Give me defensive lineman or give me death."
if Fedora keeps this up, he may have a job as a defensive assistant next year on the Saints. But I just think Sean was so focused on being the smartest guy in the room. Even like play calling, like was dumb play calls of like very basic, like 3rd and 1 instead of just taking the easy approach. He has to do a reverse or a screen or something stupid. I think it's the same thing with the mentality of the draft.
Well, it got announced this afternoon.
Two for.
It got announced this afternoon. You'll see Sean on NFL Sunday from here on out. Next
Can't
year.
wait. I thought I would be excited about seeing Drew Brees. That lost its luster real quick.
And I hear he might be leaving NBC. They both might want it out of that.
Maybe
there might be a mutual divorce.
They should partner together and do games together. That would be a good blast of nostalgia.
Actually, that would be really Sean and Drew. So Drew has to go to Fox. That shouldn't be too hard.
No, he's really good at negotiating the hair plug extensions into his contract. So I think they'll be able to.
He's a big fan of Fox.
Joe Buck already did it. There's a template for Joe Buck. You can just put
Joe
his name
Buck
on
and
it.
hair plugs that's a whole he should have showed up on that show. That show on like Discovery where they had all the addicts.
Well, there's a few different kinds. There's like True Life. I'm addicted
Intervention.
to hair plugs.
Intervention.
Oh, there you go.
Intervention. Yeah.
Troy Aikman sitting in a couch. Joe, you guys stop with that.
Joe Buck, I'm only here because I love you so much. You know, like Dr. Phil would mediate it. He'd be like, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and your third ex-wife
sitting on the outside the house.
Your third ex-wife and your second ex-wife are all here to tell you that your addiction to hair plugs is detrimental to your health and it's tarnishing your relationships and your intuitiveness with the outside world. You ready to talk about Ben the Better?
Oh, yes. The highlight of the day.
It's a weird thing to frame. All right, if anybody's even listening live right now, it'd be amazing. But I think that the weird thing about our show is it pulls in a lot of people from all over gambling Twitter. And we somewhere with the snare of our show pulled in either the world's greatest or the world's worst sports wagerer on Twitter that's very vocal and public about it. We there's a guy that's notorious for just his rate of losing. We've talked about him before. He utilized some clips from previous conversations that we've aired here in the last couple of months to put together like a T, is it fair to describe like as a trailer?
It was extremely cinematic. Yeah, it was very unnerving.
It felt like a trailer of a documentary or something, which is funny and ironic because, like, when we've talked about, you and I have talked about him on multiple occasions on the show because he is an enigma of gambling Twitter. And everybody knows, like, even when we've brought on high profile guests, low profile guests, doesn't matter. Everybody knows who he is. Right. And it was so strange. And I mean, like, full disclosure, I've offered him money to come on this show before, and he won't take it. He won't come on the show. He won't come on for good vibes, bad vibes, money, whatever. And there's a reason for that. That's going to be in part 2. See,
You
because what's
think?
funny, well, that's in our part 2. You see, because today Ben, he put out a video, a very good video, really establishing my hypothesis is that he's the world's worst gambler, and he loses to such a rate that, like, if you just fade him, you will make so much money. And he's been doing it for a very long time and very consistently, and it's all documented. It's all documented. So you just, like, should we go find people that are, like, really good CPAs and shit? I mean, have we been doing this all wrong the entire time?
And what you want to like calculate his actual winning percentage?
How, like, I guess I've got a whole nother hypothesis of how he loses so much. And it's just how smart he is. And I'm as smart as he is. Because I can lose like that too if I want to.
Yeah, we could. I don't think.
I mean, like, should we turn this into a supersize me? Remember the supersize me where that motherfucker ate McDonald's every day for like 6 months or some shit? He came out and he was
it was
like,
like 30 days. I think, and he
okay,
went to the
right.
hospital. 6 months he might
Bro,
have died.
yeah, it was a little dramatic, but it ain't good for you because it's fucking toxic waste. I mean, like, I could utilize the same betting patterns as Ben the Better, and I could supersize me for 30 fucking days and just bet like an asshole and publish it and record it. And guess what? Do you think I'd be able to replicate his success, or do you think I'd not be able to replicate his success?
No, he is. So there's a few things on both sides, I guess. Like if you had to break it down into the two likely scenarios. One is your thought and his now thought that he is a really good gambler, portraying himself as a bad gambler for one. I don't know the motive. I guess to get Patreon subscribers because people pick up on mushing.
If you mush them, you win.
Right.
It's
So
that simple.
that's the
And you and I,
scenario.
brother, you and I figured this out like how long ago?
Like this time last year, I think
Right.
we were
Yeah.
we were sniffing around his
Right.
trail.
Right.
But my likely thought is he's really a bad gambler, and you alone gave him the idea to own this persona as actually being a really smart guy, and now he's taking it to get, because as we've seen from previous tweets, there's been some mental struggles he's had where he's been upset or depressed or frustrated with life in general and gambling and the negativity. This could be a way to get into the good graces of the gambling community as a hero, as opposed to the villain and the little stepbrother he's been.
You think he's using us
full
to get
character
into the
arc.
good graces? You think he's using us to elevate his congeniality in the gambling world?
It'll be make him appear more likable. He's just trying to get the positive spin on him as opposed to
I've
this
told you
where
before,
it's been
like
beaten up on
he
him.
might be a construct. And
He could
that's
not
what
be a
he's
real
saying
person,
right now.
yeah.
He's saying it himself. He's saying, "Am I real or am I not real? Have I been telling you all this time and just publishing at a losing bets at an astonishing rate?"
Do you want to tell our loyal audience your theory, like the specific person behind it, or is this like a game of
Not
Clue
tonight.
where if you
Not
blow it
tonight.
too
Not
early,
tonight.
you
No,
can't do it again?
and for the record, I've told you off air, right? And we're not going to say that person's name. I've told you off air who I believe that Ben the Better could be.
we need to get professional
And I'm
phone
sure
company.
that, and hey, guess what? If I'm right, that person's listening, and I love you. I do. I think it's the fucking greatest move of all time. And if I'm on the right scent, then just you can just DM me like you often do, and just tell me that I'm wrong, or
Do
just
you
tell me to
think
back off,
do
and
you
I
think
will.
your culprit
How
is
about that?
listening and knows you're talking about them?
Well, clearly he is T because after he published his video montage today, utilizing our footage, which I mean, he's green light. Like I don't anybody can use our footage. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna come after you.
Just don't draw any like cartoon dicks on our faces or anything.
If you can draw a dick on my face, that dick better be really fucking hard. You better put a fucking really well constructed dick on my face if you're gonna put a dick on my face. I ain't opposed to it.
I'll
Give
clip
me a
that
good.
up for TikTok.
That's right. I mean, we don't discriminate against fucking rock hard dicks around here. Okay.
Oh God! All right, so
Back to
I
been
don't
the
even know what
better.
I was saying. Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought.
You got that been the better? You putting that I picture been the better. I picture either the real been the better or the person that I believe is portraying been the better. And I'm 50-50 on it right now. Or they're in their lab and they're listening to this right now. And that brings me so much joy.
Well,
And I love them. Like I told you before, dude. I appreciate it. And if I'm right, like I think I am, just tell me.
let's we're gonna spend some serious dedicated, like probably a whole show to breaking down our theory, but let's give a 5-minute preview of what we know so far.
Okay. I'm
Ben
all
has
about it.
mentioned that he's from Toronto, I believe.
He's mentioned that he's from Toronto. Yep.
He's mentioned that he didn't have any money and he's shown his bank account with like pennies. But then recently he showed a trip from Toronto to Florida driving a Tesla. So that theory is cool. I have no idea to do with that information.
Yeah. But he could
He
have been fronting on that though.
see
He
it's
could have
another
just been
just
fronting on that because
Ben is like an onion.
he's established the reputation of a troll. Like he's done trollish shit. And
Yeah.
it's weird because like he's to your theory, I believe that you think he's real, right? And he's just capitalizing on us and jumping off and going,
I don't
no,
know,
yeah,
and
I'm
I'm
just
getting frustrated that I
push
don't
me.
know.
I
I'm getting
know.
really
And
upset.
guess what? He ain't fucking coming on this show.
Well, another
He's
thing we
never coming on this show.
do you remember when he did the video of him playing? I think Twitch. He was twitching and playing video games, streaming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
use twitching as verbs, streaming, and his video of him, supposedly him, didn't look anything like his little cartoon avatar that he has as his Twitter profile, which is how I envision him looking. When I think of Ben the Better, I picture that little cartoon guy. Did he? Is that custom for him? Is that a preset image like he stole from the internet?
I picture his Twitter image versus what we've seen.
Right.
And like there's some I don't even want to get into it, but there's some shading differences.
Yeah. So that
Right.
was a big thing.
I mean, and I don't know if it's a tactical error, like if he's a troll, but I know kids today, like I mean I say kids like anybody that's more than 13 years younger than me, I call them a kid. Fucking like, I don't know.
But
I actually I don't think that's big of a deal. It's weird miscalculation along the way, but I think again that's the
what
50% of me that thinks that he's some kind of I think he's the greatest claiming to be the worst.
my other question is the person that you think it is behind it, we know that person's voice and how they sound. When Ben did his Dawson's Creek video, which was our first real glimpse into him about a few weeks ago, that voice was significantly different than the voice we think it is. So did he hire someone to record that? Or is
Have you watched any of his online like when he plays the first person shooters or whatever and you record like on Twitch or
Mhm.
whatever
I haven't.
what's that voice sound like?
I haven't listened to that. I think I'm trying to find
Watch
some.
those and get back to me, but I can spoiler alert, I've listened to those. That's a different voice altogether.
Then the first two, then our suspect and the Dawson's Creek voice.
Correct.
So there's a third person behind this operation in theory.
No, it could be it could be one person using different voices. That's why it's such an onion, dude. That's why it's so. I mean, game on, Ben. The fact of the matter is,
Game
anytime,
on, man.
no, anytime you do a documentary, like you don't just run a trailer for the fucking documentary. You do the fucking documentary. So it's
Ben, we would
curious is
like to
about
be the exclusive producers of this documentary, so
well
please reach
well
out.
no. Like any good documentary, like any good story, the story of Ben is so good, it should inspire at least two documentaries. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'd like that to be ours, and I'd like that to be Ben's.
I'd like Ben's to be him coming out of his shell and revealing himself, and ours being like finding Ben, like digging into the mystery.
Can I be honest with you? And again, I say this with nothing but love for Ben. I don't give a fuck what his documentary is. I know what ours is going to be.
Can we
You know what I
interview
mean?
Ben with like the muffled voice and the
He's
black
not gonna, dude.
outline?
He's not gonna fucking interview with us.
No,
He's
for
not
like
going
our
to. Just
documentary. I
put
want like
that.
the
You just gotta,
muffled.
dude. You gotta put that to bed. I'm sorry, brother. It's not happening, T.
Ben, you see
Fucking Santa's
what
not
you're doing
coming
to me?
tonight, dude. So she said, "Have I got a little story for you? What you thought was your daddy was nothing but a while I was sitting home alone at age 13. Your real daddy was dying." You know how it is, dude. No, turn yourself on, turn your mic on, turn your shit on.
What is going on?
I was singing Alive by Pearl Jam. It's a story of it's a story of a young Eddie Vedder not knowing who his dad was. It reminded me of Ben. Or there's a correlation with Ben there.
Eddie Vedder and I share a last name.
I
Maybe I'm
wanted Ben
related
to
to him
take that
somehow.
video and put it in his next video. Basically, me singing Alive by Pearl Jam.
Okay, Ben, here you
Make that
go.
the intro. Because he's using orchestral music. Did you ever see that show? Um, damn, it's like The Left Behind on HBO.
The
The
leftovers, yes, for
Leftovers. The
half of or
Leftovers.
10% of the world.
Oh. And so like Ben's using like leftovers scores, like piano music from the leftovers on his shit.
It crescendoed at like the right times. I was really like, I was in awe. I
He's
was
a very talented dude. He's extremely fucking talented.
video games, betting, DFS, video editing,
And I'll tell you what's funny is
mysteries.
I paid zero attention to anything that he talks about DFS related because I don't give a fuck about DFS. It makes my head hurt. The online gaming shit, like I'm not into it. I don't know anything about it. I'm sure it has an audience. It's not me. I don't know if you get it because you're a couple years younger than I am, I but pure bread and butter down to the but what makes Ben is just how much money you make by fading him. If you fade him consistently like you should.
Yeah, that's his meat and potatoes. I'm already brainstorming titles of the documentary.
Well, just a few minutes before showtime tonight, Ben responded to a comment on his own Twitter thread, and he said, maybe I'll make a part 2 one day or something." Did you see the exact words?
Yeah, he left it up to interpretation and another cloud of mystery added.
You said, "Yeah, I might do a part 2 at a later date." And I retweeted and said, "I thought a part 2 was implied by the use of part 1." Anyway, yeah, I was
Yeah,
getting,
that was my
show
thing.
prepped.
You can't call it part one if there's only one part.
Right. Which I think makes it that maybe you're right.
I think the best thing we can do is just kind of sit back and see what happens.
Let it all unfold, huh?
It's the only thing we can do. Every time we gave Ben some space and he reached out to us instead of pressing him.
The profile of who Ben is, like, I believe in the Ted DiBiase theory.
No, I don't.
Everybody has a price.
So you think you can offer him a sum of money?
No,
Or
I don't
something
think
he
Ben has a
wants?
price. I don't think Ben has a price.
Yeah, I think he's really loving this.
Oh, this is good. I mean, he's gonna sit in his lab and chop this up. I love him. I mean, like I said, nothing but love. But whether or not he puts out a part 2 at T-Man Among Boys, at Taking the Over, we're gonna put out a part 2, right?
Yeah, we just gotta get on the trail here and get some more.
Oh,
Get some more evidence.
we might have recorded it already tonight.
I would say so. Yeah,
We might have just done it.
coming for your ass, Ben.
We're coming for you, Ben. It's nothing. We do it out of love because I think if you're fuck it, we'll save it for part 3. All right.
If I thought Ben was a jackass or I didn't like him, I would have no
What's
interest
that?
in it. If I thought Ben was an asshole or a jackass or I didn't care, or he's just a jerk, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't have any interest in this story. But
There's been a couple of things that either the character of Ben or the real Ben has done in the last couple, since I've known him, that are, but we all do shitty things, right? So that gets weird, but I think if he's a real person, it makes more sense because like real people do stupid things.
Yeah, is it a planned outburst?
I don't know. Fuck. I don't think you'd invite this. I don't think you'd invite this one in. No.
So there's some person.
Yeah.
Exactly. That makes me think it.
And again, you think we've helped curate him, and we might have. That might be the fucking Inception third level of this.
I may be overestimating our reach, but
we might have created him. No, he's been there. No matter how large or small that we get, he's always been there.
Damn you, Ben.
From the fucking beginning, the greatest gambler on the face of the earth believed in this podcast. Can you imagine the success we're going to have in the time to come?
Ben, what's on your vision board for us?
What's your vision board look like, Ben? You got anything else? You got anything else? We definitely need to get to tonight.
That's a perfect ending. It'll make a perfect voiceover behind the
I think I'm going
titles.
to download the video first tonight.
What's on your vision board? Ben opens up to whatever.
We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We love DraftKings. We love Boot Crew Media. Let me get this thing straight right here. God. The most important thing, because I think we filmed part 2 of the Ben documentary for him tonight. And hey, Ben or any followers, anybody, and I'm thankful because ultimately all we're trying to do is generate traffic for us and for Boot Crew Media and for DraftKings. And so if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537 in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Wyoming, 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, New Hampshire, 888-789-7777 for my friends like T in Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, 1-877-770-STOP for all the good brothers here in the home state of Louisiana, 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to New York. Visit opgr.org. If you are in Oregon, call or text T in Redline, 1-800-889-9789 Tennessee or 1-888-532-2500 because Virginia keeps it simple. 21 plus, 18 in Wyoming, physically presented in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming only. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details.
Great job.
Dude, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you. We've been doing good, and people enjoy our shit. Y'all keep listening. We love you a bunch. T, say goodnight to all the beautiful people.
Good night to all the beautiful people.
Enjoy the draft. Enjoy fun draft picks. Enjoy the Pelicans. We'll see you on the other side. Later. Cheers.